The secret weapon isn't secret anymore. You're a driver, never passenger in life. And when you're ready, you won't have to try, 'cause you are the universe. And there ain't nothing you can do. If you conceive it, you can achieve it. That's why I believe in you. Yes, I do.
Hi, my name is Kat and welcome to Good-VibeNation. Thanks for joining me for this video, the third in our Good-Vibe-Nation series following the introduction to Good-Vibe-Nation, which had a wee bit about the recipe, but this video is going to tell you all about the recipe, which is the method that I've created to turn my life from a constant feeling of anxiety, feeling directionless in my 20s, to where I am now, having made each area of my life more and more brilliant. So the recipe, which is, here we go, George. The how-to guide to getting good vibes, where you feel brilliant because you have found the balance between the buzz in all the things in life that need doing, as well as the bliss of just allowing time to be. Just like us, sat in the garden here. Why is the recipe here and what will it give you? Well, the old cliche that you teach what you best need to learn, and this is the book I wish I had seen when I was younger, so I've created it for others to help them. I think it will help anyone, but certainly for young people. For me, because I didn't have emotional support growing up, I think it's more about before you get, say, as I did, sucked into a money-making career without the thought of whether that would make me happy. This recipe is to just get you to think about who you are and what your natural talents are and what would be a fit for you. So yeah, this is why I've written it, to help others. But for me, it's something I live by. I have to keep my vibe in check every single day. Just because you learn things about yourself doesn't mean to say that day to day you're not going to do them, like being impatient or getting frustrated by life's daily tasks and things. Anyway, so I wrote the book after studying alchemy, after studying the law of attraction, and hearing, strangely, in the corporate world, James Patterson's glass balls quote. So been through all that before on the introduction video, but then a dear, very wise friend of mine advised me to just aim higher in each and every area of my life, and that really struck me and stuck with me, thankfully. And that's where the ingredients have come from. I'm sharing now to help others to get good vibes, because I genuinely believe the world would be a nicer place if we all learn to keep our vibe in check, which is basically mindfulness. So here is the recipe, 136 pages, and it's basically a practical guide and workbook. So you work your way through it, and it's designed to be completed on your birthday, actually. I don't know about you, but as a child, that's when I did most of my wishing. And it's a really lovely time to, rather than at New Year, when you typically make resolutions, I think it's very easy to get distracted by festivities at the end of the year, and to give you the headspace to really think about what it is you do want. And then come January, there's kind of a funny vibe, I think, every January, perhaps not being in the right pond at work, and there's a funny vibe often in the air. The money thing goes a bit funny sometimes as well for people. So anyway, I don't find it, for me, it's not the great time to set resolutions. I've certainly never kept them. But with my birthday, over the years, I noticed that it was always a time where it's quite stark. It's like, oh, I'm another year older, and where am I? What have I achieved? And it was always the time that really made me think and reflect, which is a massive part of the recipe. It's using the power of reflection to look back at where you are, how far you've come, or indeed how far you haven't come, to then propel you forward to make choices about where you wish to go. And the recipe itself it's just 7 ingredients first, as we've discussed, the 7 parts of your life. And there's the colourful sections. There's an intro section there about what the recipe is about, and then you've got your ingredients where you actually fill out where you are now, to give you an honest view of where you wish to go. And then you've got each ingredient broken down, and to give you space for the things that you do want to happen and the things you do want to create. Like a vision board, but it's got alchemy elements as well, using the power of the written word by bringing your wishes into the physical form by writing them down. It's really powerful, and there's guidance to take you through each ingredient I will give in the videos to follow. We're going to do each ingredient at a time and just to chat about some of the things that I've wished for and I've seen other people wish for, just to help you to complete those, because it's important that you get it right really with the whole law of attraction thing and not asking for negatives. So we would do that. I'll just read the back for you to give you a flavour. Okay, so it's some Good-VibeNation gives you a how-to guide to getting good vibes written as a recipe. And when you follow the recipe's instructions, give the appropriate thought, action and time to apply the method, which we'll cover in the videos and is obviously within the recipe, to your chosen ingredients. Then you measure out your mix. Then you implement the 7 important baking instructions, and that's the spiritual, the coaching, the corporate, alchemy, law of attraction stuff. If you do all of this, you have no choice but to create a life that you love, one that is brilliant and has many moments of bliss. It's about working out your goals and objectives and having reviews throughout the year and quarterly to make sure that you achieve those. And it struck me when I heard the Balls quote 9 years ago that I spent all this time working out what I was doing in my work hat, but in terms of my personal life, I didn't really have a structure or thought. So this is what the recipe is for as well, to give you that structure to plan your days, your weeks, your months, and even your next 5 years. So looking at how you spend your time and how you focus on each ingredient to get a happy balance for you that works for you, so that next year on your birthday things will be different if you want to make changes to ingredients as a result of completing the recipe. It's really rare to have a white buddleia. Are we recording? All right. So when you follow the recipe, when you use it as a coaching tool, which many people do in the corporate world, and you examine your ingredients and you work out what they look like for you, because obviously we're all different and we're all going to have different ideas and things that make us tick. So when you do the recipe, work out your ingredients, and don't worry, we will be going through the videos over the coming months to break it really down for you and keep it simple. But when you do that, when you get to know yourself, you can then be yourself. And that leads to a place of self-worth, because you're being really true to you, because you've bothered to find out who you are, and you'll be living by your own standards for yourself and your life. So obviously we're all different. We have different needs, different wants, different wishes, and that's beautiful about life. So that's what the recipe helps you do. It's a self-coaching technique that utilises the corporate world as well as spiritual techniques. So as humans, we have free will, don't we? We can be this or we can be that. You can get out of bed one side or the other. You've got a choice every day. Our behaviours and our attitudes, everything is a choice. So we can be impatient, which I am a lot of the time, or you can be very chilled about things. So each new day is a chance to choose differently. So how do you choose your vibe to be? Your vibe is your choice, is what I'm trying to say. I just wish I was more aware of this in my early 20s, how your mind is a magnet. I wish I'd known about the 2 A's of alchemy and attraction. I would have been able to lift myself out of my constant then state of anxiety based on comparing myself to others and complaining about what was going on around me. Back then, I was overwhelmed by life and lacked direction, basically, and emotional support. My mind was often frazzled, worrying about many things: family, my parents, the divorced, lack of knowing where I was going with my career, not the best friendships around me. So there was work, there was home, there was all of it. It was a mess, and I just felt flat about where my life was, and pretty much anxious, and my head was full of frets and worries pretty much all of the time. The trouble is with the anxiety and worry, and what I was doing as a young person was I wasn't aware of the negative cycle that I had created for myself, and I was recreating daily, playing out those thoughts and the same behaviours. I was lost and certainly not aware of how I could help myself to get happy. I was in full-on buzz mode where my mind was just racing. Worry, constant to-do list was just a great distraction. But basically it was just a great distraction from my feelings. The page just turned. There's heaps more about me and my story on our website, www.good-vibenation.com. if you care to take a look, it's all there in the section why Good-VibeNation was created. But that's what I really want to say about me, is I want to move on to talking about the recipe and how it's actively going to help you, and how my life is absolutely unrecognisable to where I was 9 years ago, and I'm very blessed for that, but I take full responsibility for that too, and how I've managed to control my mind, find the path to mindfulness, also in a grounded, practical way, using corporate coaching techniques, as well as using alchemy and the law of attraction, to create better for myself. And that's really what the recipe is here for, is to give you the how-to guide to getting good vibes. Now, you may have noticed, if you have been following any of our social media or the previous 2 videos, you might have noticed my bee obsession. Or you might be getting to. Boom, boom. Buzz, buzz. Well, I love these creatures, always have. They teach us about the sweetness of life and how to live in a harmonious hive, I think. If we do not support them, then we long term will not have the ability to enjoy flowers or eat natural foods and fruit, help the bees. So I'm going to give 10% of all profits from Good-VibeNation to the bees, but also 10% to Rainbow Trust Children's Charities. They give so much out to families that have a child with a terminal illness. I just want to create a pot of money so that I can help some people that give a lot of good to the world and get very little back. When I used to work with this lovely charity, I was blown away by the kindness and care that these souls give out for very, very little in return, and I know there's loads of people in the world that do the same, but I want to create a pot of money to basically give back to them. So that's the dream as well, help the rainbow carers and help the bees. And that's it. So thanks for listening to me. Do check out our website, Good-VibeNation, put the link below, and we're on all the usual social media channels when we can, and when we've got something good to say we tap in there, and on the YouTube. So if you're still watching, then I hope that I've inspired you to keep your own vibe in check, to choose brilliance by bothering to get to know yourself, because when you know yourself, things like complaining, comparing, dissatisfaction, disappointment, it kind of falls away, because you come from a place of being true to you, and you learn the art of acceptance. That and the power of reflection, the art of acceptance, is something that I will be talking tons and heaps about. So choose brilliance, be mindful, be yourself. The power of gratitude is a paradigm shift. Our take on it at Good-VibeNation, hey darling, is to always see the sunshine that is in your life, and that's what we call a still, don't we, Marmalade? As we like to say at Good-VibeNation, a still, a still, a still.
The secret weapon isn't secret anymore. You're a driver, never passenger in life.